All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Sessions with me, Sham. Today, I'm very happy to have on the show Kushal Mehra, who, in my opinion, has had some of the best podcast episodes that I've heard in India or done by an Indian person. So I'm very, very glad to have him on the show. Welcome, Kushal.
Thanks a lot. It's my honor, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with you because I really liked the concept of your show. You've been doing an awesome job, and you're trying to talk about topics which are so called politically incorrect topics, and nobody wants to talk about that, at least in the mainstream media. So
Thanks,
I'm
thanks.
really
No,
looking forward to it.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Kushal. And so I want to start with that. We were talking about your podcast, so let me start with that. What made you talk about this stuff? What made you think, okay, let me reach out to these people and let me have conversations with these people? What was your motivation behind it?
Well, I don't know where to start. Honestly, I think my inspiration was Arnab Goswami because he shouted so much on TV that I got fed up of it.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, believe me, it does not matter. What Arnab says. There might be someone who says that. Hey, Arnab is right wing or whatever. He supports the cause or this or that. It does not matter. What I have seen at least in the last 7 to 8 years on like I've not watched a serious debate on Indian TV at least in the last three and a half years. So, मतलब मैंने TV ही नहीं चालू किया है.
Hmm.
But before that, I used to, all you see is people shouting. There is no conversation. People are shouting at each other, and every single political outfit does that on TV, does that in the parliament, by the way. Parliament is a place where you're supposed to debate, but if you notice in India, there is no debate. People virtue signal in the parliament too. And it used to bother me. Like, I'm someone who wants to have really good conversations with people. For the record, most of the people who come on my podcast, I don't agree with them at a personal level. But anybody who has listened to my podcast consistently, they will never accuse me of one thing, at least, that I have cut my guests off, or I've tried to put them down, no matter how radical I think their suggestion is, which they give on the podcast. But my whole point was I wanted to create a space where people can come and have conversations like humans, not Neanderthals. I know we all have some Neanderthal DNA, but we need to control that. The whole idea was to control that, animal urge in us and
Yep.
behave like civilized people. I somehow feel television right now and social media, I include social media too, it incentivizes bad behavior and rude behavior. And I don't know, that was my inspiration for podcasts, and also to create a space where we can touch sensitive topics in a intelligent manner, not shouting and screaming. So if you ask me, that's the reason why I started it.
And I think you make a good point with particularly in case of social media. It's weird because there is no way on earth that you're going to have some sort of a nuanced point put forward in like 140 characters or 280 now, but there is like it's virtually impossible to put on some sort of a nuanced argument. So essentially what that kind of a platform creates for is a screaming match. Is so who can say the spiciest thing in like 280 characters essentially. And with the Arnab Goswami thing as well, it's kind of unfortunate because when the whole Arnab Goswami started kind of blowing up with kind of the Hindus in India, and they were like, he's someone who's speaking out for the cause, there was a real potential for him to take up like a, what you say, a good kind of conservative position, which wasn't really there, and it was there for the taking in India. But he sort of turned into, if I can make a parallel to the US, he sort of turned into like a Mike Cernovich, Alex Jones kind of character, which is a shame because the opportunity was really there. Hello, can you hear me, Kushal? Hey, Kushal, can you hear me? seems like it's either me or Kushal that's a little stuck. I don't know. We're good? I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. I don't think it's the internet on my side. I think it's funny because last time it was I that got stuck when Kushal and I were talking. This time it feels like it might be Kushal that got a little stuck. So let me see if we are able to recreate and I can re-invite Kushal to the show. Just hang on with me. Sometimes technical difficulties happen, particularly when you're talking across country. All right, so it appears Kushal will be back soon. He has the link. I think there's some internet connectivity issues. Yes, technical difficulty. Call drop. Exactly. That is what has happened. We should be. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Please hang on. We should be able to be back. I've been looking forward to this conversation since March, believe it or not, because we tried doing this back in March, and I pulled out my special hat for this occasion as well because Kushal just came back from a Australia trip, so I just wanted to put on a New Zealand hat just to be a contrarian. So let's see what happens. It is going to be a good conversation if you want to hang around because I have a lot of books actually. I have these ones here that you see. If you're talking about these ones here are almost all kind of environment related books. My girlfriend has very keen interest in the environment, so those are all kind of books related to that. So, hello Abhishek, how are you? Good to have you here, man. Good to have your support. And I hope you get a chance to keep following the show because we're going to be getting a lot more people to have on these discussions. So, yeah, please make sure to keep following. And thanks for participating in the conversation today, man. Okay, let's check again on. Okay, Namaste ji. That's a good idea. Sanjeev Sanyal is actually a good idea, Tejas, because I've been following him on social media and I kind of want to get him on the show as well. I want to get Professor Paranjpe. There's a lot of people that I want to get on the show. One of the people that I'm looking to get on the show next week. It's not 100% yet, but when it happens, I will let you know on Twitter and Facebook and all of that good stuff. मैं सोच रहा हूँ शंकर शरण नाम से एक एकेडमिक हैं जो कम्युनिस्ट्स का क्या इफेक्ट रहा है इंडियन एजुकेशन में और इंडिया में इन जनरल उस पे चर्चा करते हैं और काफी सारे हिंदू इश्यूज पे चर्चा करते हैं. He's a very well read man, very learned man, and I'm hoping to get him on the show. So please, thank you, Casey. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm back. So sorry.
No worries at all. No worries at all. We held the fort and people are still here. So no worries at all. We can pick up right where we left off.
I'm very sorry about this. It usually does not happen in Mumbai, but literally for 1 second, my whole room was like dark. The
really?
lights went off.
I know it's weird because it doesn't happen here in Chicago that much as well. You'd think, but for some reason, the area where I stay in, I don't know if it's like directly under a black hole or something, but there's some problem. The internet just doesn't work as well as it's supposed to in the first world. I really don't know what it is. So I was telling.
I was when I was about to say I'm a proud Mumbaiker, this happens.
And I was kind of telling the audience as well that you've just been to Australia, and so I'm wearing all blacks hat just to be a contrarian as well.
Oh yeah,
Pulled out my special New Zealand hat. So
yeah.
so yeah, let's pick off from where we left off. You know, I was kind of talking about Arnab. We were kind of talking about Arnab Goswami, and अर्नब गोस्वामी के साथ सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम ये है मेरे हिसाब से कि he had the opportunity to take up that kind of Indian conservative space जहाँ पे I don't think there's literally anyone right now, at least in the mainstream media. So he really had an opportunity, but he has gone from like the opportunity to take up that space to being like a Alex Jones kind of Mike Cernovich kind of figure, you know, who is somebody that would be, yeah, sure, he'll get a huge following on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff like that. But is it really taking the conversation forward?
You know, I agree with you. In fact, I would like to expand on this point which we are on. We speak a lot of times about this word, you know, these words, virtue signaling. And maybe I'm going to say something that is not going to be liked by our right-wing friends now. I don't believe only left-wingers virtue signal. I believe right-wingers virtue signal too.
Undoubtedly.
It's just that the right-wingers virtue signal on something else, the left-wingers virtue signal on something else. So let's say, for example, the left-wingers have a diversity fetish. Like, you know, तुम होटल में जाओगे वो जबरदस्ती की थाली खाएंगे क्योंकि उनको डाइवर्सिटी दिखानी है अपने प्लेट पे. It's like that. नहीं आज तो हम सारा खाएंगे भाई, हम नॉर्थ इंडियन जैसे आई थिंक फ्यूजन फूड मस्ट बी क्रिएटेड बाय सम लेफ्टी. यहाँ तो पंजाबी खाए या वेस्टर्न खाए, दोनों का मलिया मेट क्यों कर रहा है तू? मतलब मेरी थिंकिंग ये. नाउ राइट विंग भी वर्च्यू सिग्नल करता है, वो लोग पेट्रियोटिज्म पे करते हैं, जैसे कि पता नहीं वॉर होने वाली है, सारे जाके लड़ने वाले, सबसे पहले तो अपने पीछे जाके छुप जाएंगे ये लोग. तो मतलब हर आदमी यही कर रहा है. एंड आई थिंक इट्स अ शाउटिंग मैच. एंड now when it comes to the conservative space, I believe in India, if there is a conservative space that can be occupied, it's the fiscal economic conservative space. Because when we talk about social conservatism, I don't believe those categories actually map onto a Hindu worldview. This is my view. Now I personally might be a charvaka, atheist, nirishwarwadi, whatever you want to call me, but I myself believe that at a social level, every religion has its own do's and don'ts. Now, when it comes to Eastern traditions, they are very open on some issues like homosexuality. For example, now homosexuality, if you look at the traditional Hindu view or the Buddhist view or the Jain view, should not be that much of an issue. Mm-hmm. So where will you place a traditional Hindu there? I mean, they might be left-wing on that issue, right? A lot of practicing Hindus might be left-wing on that issue. But with Abrahamic religions, those, social views become a problem. So I think in India, the only space which needs to be occupied is the conservative space fiscally. Funny thing, no political outfit wants to occupy that space. Whatever little fiscal conservative space we have in India is actually on social media, where some of us actually shout and scream on a daily basis.
So just to kind of, so that the people watching can kind of get an idea of what you mean when you say a fiscal conservative, could you just maybe run that down, what a fiscal conservative is in like a simple terms, for example?
Simple terms, anybody that believes in less regulation, less government interference, more market-based economy. Like, yeah, we opened up our markets in 1991, but how much have we opened up? I mean, if you look at the current government, we are going back to protectionism. Now I can see somebody saying, Trump also did it. Yeah, two people doing bad things does not make that idea a good idea.
But I think a lot of conservatives actually disagree with Trump on at least the trade tariffs and stuff, because nobody wins in a trade war at the end of the day. That's the old saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. A more market-based economy. I mean, I was born in January 1981. So, we, the 80s kids, as I say, are the last generation who has actually seen a non-liberalized India in terms of economics. So, we have actually seen our parents struggling for an MTNL connection or a scooter. I mean, I'm sure you remember that too. वो 80s में वो LML Vespa होता था, यहाँ पता नहीं लम्ब्रेटा का स्कूटर होता था नॉर्थ में.
चेतक था ना, चेतक नाम था कुछ ऐसा.
लम्ब्रेटा होता था, पंजाब में लम्ब्रेटा होता था, मुझे याद है. सो उसके लिए एक्चुअली मतलब सेटिंग करनी पड़ती थी, और अगर पैसा नहीं खिलाया तो बहुत सालों के बाद मिलता था. अभी जो बच्चे 90s में पैदा हुए हैं या स्पेशली जो 2000 में पैदा हुए हैं उनको तो मालूम भी नहीं होगा. आज की डेट में तो मोबाइल का कनेक्शन लिटरली एक अंगूठे के ऊपर मिलता है. You just go, you give your thumb imprint on the basis of your Aadhaar and you get a cell phone. So we've come a long way. So that itself is a proof that, capitalism is nice. It has given us a lot of good things. But the post-90s India, in my view, is far better than the pre-90s India. It's my view. I mean, we can disagree. I mean, I don't have an MTNL connection anywhere. Not in my factory, not in my house, nowhere. I hate MTNL.
Yeah. Like I talked to my dad about it, because he's from before the, let's say, the 90s era, for example. He's a 70s kid, he's an 80s kid. And so he tells me, if you talk to somebody like that, for example, somebody born in the 90s and the 2000s, like you're saying, wouldn't have that much of an idea. But you talk to somebody like that and they tell you what a giant leap has been taken since those 2 decades. So I think I think you're completely right about that. And it's interesting also because we were talking about virtue signaling and how it happens, and it's happened to such a crazy extent in this whole Kathua issue as well. Now, I don't want to talk too much about that issue because tons of people are already talking ad nauseum about it. Everybody's saying something else. But what is again surprising and kind of sad also, at least in this context, is just the sheer amount of grandstanding and just the sheer amount of virtue signaling over this issue. I think you look at social media and it's just I don't know what it says about our state today.
I think social media shouldn't this is my view again. I don't think so. Social media is a good gauge of what's happening in society, first of all. When you come on social media, at least if you're a socio-political animal, let's say, see, everybody comes on social media for different things. There might be some people who come on social media and they only follow stand-up comics, right? They only look for humor when they go on Twitter or Facebook. So their life would be, only looking at jokes. But there is a sudden change in the last 5 years on social media. I joined Twitter, if I remember correctly, it was in 2009-10. That's when I joined Twitter. I don't remember the year exactly. It's either late 2009 or early 2010. In the first 2 years, what I used to witness was there were really funny people online and they would crack jokes. It did not matter. I mean, there would be some politics involved, but by and large, it was just basically, general stuff. You would crack jokes on IPL. I don't remember the last time on my TL, the same people who would consistently crack jokes on IPL, they could be left wingers, they could be so-called right wingers. They don't do that anymore. It's just सबको जैसा पता नहीं खुजली वाले कुत्ता काट गया है. और सबके सब आप सुबह उठते हो, आप अपने पॉट पे बैठते हो और हगते हगते आउटरीच करते हो, फिर आप रात को जाते हो, ब्रश करते हो, अपना मुंह धोते हो और आउटरीच करते करते सोते हो. So in my view, this is recreational outrage now.
Yep.
That's all people do. And it's very toxic. That's why I have a rule. Like, I literally time myself. Beyond 30 minutes, no Twitter. I go off, and beyond 30 minutes, no Facebook. I need the news because I don't watch the crazy news channels. So I'll go there, I'll get my news, I'll realize everybody's angry on a daily basis. Okay, the shit hits the roof daily. India is collapsing daily, but nothing really happens. The world is collapsing.
It's an interesting point. No, that's fine. It's an interesting point that you raised, actually. And I this is something I've wanted to talk to somebody about, and you look at news in India, okay? You look at English news, and English news, yeah, we say English news is bad and biased and very left-leaning and this and that, and that might well be the case. And I also consider that to be the case. But आप अगर Hindi news देखेंगे, the Hindi news is a whole different bloody animal. क्या है ये? Like, if I see, like, sometimes I've seen these foreign, these comedians based in the West, like in America and in Europe, they come and look at our Hindi channels and they go back and they say, okay, look, we used to make fun of our news about how our news is all shouty and crazy, but this country, India, you see their local channels and they are just something else, and all of this is ये इस लड़की में क्या पिशाच घुस गया है और निकाले इस पिशाच को, And I don't know if this is this like a reflection on. I mean, it has to be a reflection on our general society, like our Hindi-speaking society, because this news refuses to go away. It refuses to get better, and sometimes I feel like it's getting worse. What do you think about that stuff?
I don't know. I think it's okay. I'm going to use a very unpopular analogy again. Get ready. I'm going to piss a lot of people off.
Good.
That's the atheist in me now, which is coming out. So I have this theory, religion at a structural level, every time a new religion comes, right? So for the new religion to, say I am better than the past one, it has to up its madness quotient. This is my theory. Now people can disagree, whatever. But I think every new religion is crazier than the old one. And to show that they are unique or different, they basically have the madness quotient, that because if you look at it from an evolutionary point of view, our brains are trained to remember the odd man out. Okay, let us use a cricketing analogy. I mean, there was a famous test match, if you remember, Brian Lara and Courtney Walsh batting, and Brian Lara winning in the last wicket.
Yep.
In that match, Ian Healy dropped Brian Lara. I think Brian Lara was in the 40s or 50s or something. Now, Ian Healy took a lot of catches in that particular match, but you will only remember the catch that Ian Healy dropped. So your brain is basically trained, because, I mean, organized agriculture is what? Only 12,000 years old, right? We're basically hunter-gatherers for 300,000 years. Now, in that period, your brain is trained to always overreact to the bad thing. Now, your environment has changed distinctively now. You live in a very safe environment. Yes, we are very safe now. I know we are in the midst of a rape outrage, but believe me, you're far more safer now than you were, let's say, 100 years ago. So in that, your brain has not changed, right? At an evolutionary level. So you tend to remember all the bad things that are happening in your life. And now let us carry that analogy to television. Now there are, I don't know how many television channels there are in India. I've stopped counting after a while. Now in that, everybody is shouting. So now you take this analogy, and now you know why television is the way it is in India. You have to increase the badness quotient. Now what worries me is, post the Arnab Goswami era, what next? That's what scares me. Are we now going to go into an era where we literally start, taping live murders? Or what? We start going, ye dekhiye, wahan chori ho rahi hai. मतलब क्या करने वाले हैं हम next? We have to understand this madness quotient has to stop. आज भी अगर आप देखो, अगर आपको रिपोर्टाज चाहिए तो आप डीडी न्यूज जाओ. डीडी न्यूज में आज भी वो रिपोर्टाज मिलती है. ये हुआ, खत्म हो गया काम, सो जाओ. बट बाकी न्यूज चैनल में you don't get reportage, you get shouting, screeching opinion. And that's what happens on social media, and that's what happens in newspapers. There's hardly any reportage today. Maybe regional newspapers में होगा. I agree, regional newspapers आज भी major reportage करते हैं, और आपको अगर समझना है क्या हो रहा है देश में तो आपको regional newspapers पढ़ने पड़ेंगे. But my whole worry is that we are going on increasing the crazy quotient. It's as if we are selling that. I disagree that people only get attracted to the crazy quotient. I refuse to believe that. अगर ये होता रहा तो मेरी पॉडकास्ट क्यों सुनते हैं लोग? लोग बोलेंगे तुम्हारे नंबर्स क्या है. भाई मैं पैसा ही नहीं डालता हूं उसको प्रमोट करने में, और मुझे कोई इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है. मैं तो बात करने के लिए कर रहा हूं. मगर मैं आपको गारंटीड बोल रहा हूं, अभी अगेन आपको पसंद नहीं होगा, मगर AIB की पॉडकास्ट देखो. भले आपको उसका कंटेंट जो लगे, मगर पॉइंट है लोग सुन रहे हैं ना उसको. जैसे न्यूज लॉन्ड्री की पॉडकास्ट है, लोग सुन रहे हैं. मे बी क्रेजीनेस क्वेश्चन हमारी साइड में ज्यादा है, मे बी इसके लिए हम नहीं सुनते ज्यादा, हो सकता है. You can't blame the news channels. You have the fucking remote in your hand. You just have to turn it off and go to another medium and look for news.
I think though, जो the हमारी side है उसमें there aren't that many people who are doing kind of polished podcasts, like for example that you're doing. One more that I can kind of think of is the Mind Makers that do a regular kind of show. That I know, I see Op India started to do a podcast now as well. But it's just what I also feel that another aspect of that is that जो दूसरी side है, for example, in quotes, they've jumped on this a lot before and a lot better than sort of the conservatives have. And where the conservatives get stuck is they're still living in that, ladki mein pishach ghus gaya hai phase. They need to get out of that and get in with the newer mediums. I think that's one of the places where they're kind of lacking as well. Like if you look at there are a lot of parallels, even though there are a lot of like dissimilarities between the American system and the Indian system. But there are some parallels in which where you see the conservatives in the West, they've started to create an ecosystem, and they've started to jump and really embrace that new media that the left embraced before them. Even though they started late, they jumped on it and they really owned it, because that's where they thrive now. They don't thrive on the mainstream; they thrive here in the social arena. That's where the opportunity is for Indian conservatives as well, if they're just willing to go and take that leap.
I think it also has to do a lot with आप में क्या भावना है. जब मैंने ये पॉडकास्ट स्टार्ट की थी, I literally wanted to create a platform which gives a voice to people who are angry but are willing to express their point in a civilized manner. Like when I start the podcast off air, I only have one condition with my guests. You can swear as much as you want to. You can do whatever you want to, but try not to get personal. And second thing, try to be as precise as you can in your points. I will not cut you off for 10-15 minutes. I can listen to you as long as you want me to listen to you. Beyond that, I don't know anything. Now I'll give you an example. I spoke to Abhijit Iyer. Before I started talking to him, I was so worried that I'm doing a foreign policy podcast. So my whole thing was I actually requested Abhijit, and kudos to him that he agreed, and I'm so grateful to him. I told him, Abhijit, पहले basics explain कर foreign policy के, क्योंकि मैं तेरे को guarantee दे रहा हूँ हमारे यहाँ पे वो भी नहीं समझते लोग. So we literally did a podcast where we did the basics of India's foreign policy. We started from the historical perspective and then we took it on. I am shocked that my most listened to and downloaded podcast is on foreign policy. That means there is somebody out there who is yearning for foreign policy. Now, my question to everybody out there is, तुमने क्यों नहीं किया भाई? मेरे जैसा बेवकूफ क्यों लगा तुमको ये करने को? मैंने किया ना. आज मेरी सबसे heard podcast is actually on the most niche subject. I thought, मेरी podcast में अगर कोई आएगा, again, I'm not going to take the names of any of my guests because I like all of them. बट जो शायद चिल्लाने वाली पॉडकास्ट थी, मुझे लगता था उसको ज्यादा हिट्स मिलेंगे. सरप्राइजिंगली नहीं मिले. एक्चुअली में जिसमें बहुत ज्यादा नुआंस थी और जिसमें बहुत ज्यादा इंटेलेक्ट इन्वॉल्व होती है, उसको ज्यादा मिले. मतलब ऑडियंस तो है उधर. भले गालियां भी मिली उतनी अभिजीत को, मगर पॉइंट है कि लोग सुन तो रहे. और अगर मेरी पॉडकास्ट, आई मीन एनीबडी हु लिसन्स टू माय पॉडकास्ट नोज दैट इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी लेस देन एन आवर. आई रिफ्यूज टू गो बिलो एन आवर. आई टेल माय गेस्ट, यू हैव टू डू इट in my format, which is an hour. People are listening to it, and people actually listen to it from the start to the end. It's not like, they'll listen to it for 15 minutes and they stop. That means they have attention spans also. I might be the first one to do it on our side. I definitely hope I'm not the last one to do it. That would be the most depressing news. So it depends. I think content has to be created, and if we create content, I believe our side will listen to it. In fact, I've not done a podcast now for more than a month because I was on vacation. And then since I've come back, I've been trying to catch up on my personal work. I'm going to probably release a podcast by the end of this month. But the point is, if I can do it, I want others to do it. Mindmakers is doing a great job. They do what you call a daily news and views podcast. And it's amazing. And, all power to them. And I support them. I want to support anybody and everybody. Op India is doing a great job. And the thing is that if there are 10 of us and 10 of us start talking to each other, promoting each other, helping each other out, hey, I don't mind helping left fingers out either. I don't care. I mean, my quarrel with the left finger is not personal. It's on ideas. I mean, I have left fingers in my family. What am I not going to talk to them?
Yeah.
It's stupid. So my way of looking at it is my battle with people is on ideas. I will argue with you till the last breath in my body about ideas. I don't care beyond that. Beyond that, I don't attribute any motives to anyone. I don't think anybody who criticizes the BJP one day and then likes the BJP another day is looking for a Rajya Sabha seat, which is the fashion of Twitter. I don't think like that. So my point of view is the more the merrier. And what people who listen to your show need to understand is You need to start developing a habit of consuming ideas, sitting back, thinking. आज मैंने ये सुना, उसके ऊपर सोचना भी बहुत जरूरी होता है. And if one thing I can request anyone is stop watching mainstream media. Just don't watch it. Your life only becomes worse after that.
Right. Oh, I completely, I couldn't agree with that more. And I think with mainstream media as well, one of the problems, in my opinion, is that you get these panelists on, you get these 5 people on, and each person in that 5-person panel gets 5 minutes to put their point across. And within those 5 minutes, they're also being shouted down, not just by the other 4 people, but also by the anchor. So it is impossible, if not nigh impossible. It is impossible for you, if you're one of those panelists, to put your thoughts forward in any sort of a coherent manner, which is why a long form conversation like the one you have on your podcast is so valuable. Because you get that same person, but then in this case you get to hear exactly what the person is trying to say, in a long way. So you understand, okay, this is what this person was trying to say on Republic TV that day or on NDTV that day, but he got completely shut down. But now here with Kushal, I know what this guy's trying to say and I get him. So that's one of the things that I think. And one of the things that you kind of alluded to, particularly with I think it was Abhijit Iyer that you were talking about. He had an interesting thing recently on Twitter where I think he had a series of tweets which were talking about BJP's prospects in 2019. And this is not a man, from at least my understanding, that hates the BJP. I don't think so. From what I know of him, I don't know him too well, but that's not what I think is going on here. But for some reason, when he wrote that out, because he's written a lot of articles, I think, and pieces kind of defending the BJP and defending the sort of broader Hindu movement as well. But when he put that out, those tweets out about BJP's prospects, they weren't. He was saying how the prospects are not the greatest, and people just went after him. People climbed down his throat, just like branding him like anti-national and like a Hindu hater. And I really, really think that this is something we really have to watch out against. If the broader Hindu movement needs to succeed and needs to become anything tangible, we need to really stop pulling people down and like burning people at the stake as soon as they say something that is not exactly what we agree with, because then we turn into that outrage mob on the left that we're now trying to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. See, we have to dissect this. Let us unpack what you've just said. Point number 1, BJP is not equal to Hinduism.
Yes.
Hinduism is far bigger, far more important, far more relevant than BJP. BJP is just a mere tool. वो एक जरिया है. मैं बीजेपी को वोट इसके लिए करता हूं कि नंगा नहाएगा क्या और निचोड़ेगा क्या.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the case for a few people.
Yeah, I mean, मैं ओपनली बोलता हूं, बाकी ओपनली नहीं बोलते हैं. मेरी हालत ये है, मैं कभी कांग्रेस को वोट नहीं करूंगा. एटलीस्ट जब तक गांधी परिवार है उसमें, मैं तो कभी वोट नहीं करूंगा. हर आदमी का अपना मत है. अभिजीत ने तो यहां तक एडमिट किया है कि उसने 2004 और 2009 में कांग्रेस को वोट किया था. पहली बात, कांग्रेस को वोट किया तो क्या हो गया? अगेन, माय क्वेश्चन टू एवरी सिंगल बीजेपी वोटर, एक सिनेरियो है. कल को आपके परिवार में आपके ताया, चाचा, चाची, बुआ, फूफा, मामा ने कांग्रेस को वोट कर दिया. क्या भाई, रिश्ता तोड़ दोगे उनसे? एक चीज के लिए, क्योंकि उन्होंने कांग्रेस को वोट किया, तुम्हारे चाचे से बात नहीं करोगे? मेरे हिसाब से अगर आप किसी से उनके पॉलिटिकल चॉइसेस के लिए बात नहीं करोगे तो आप गधे हो. आप गधे से भी अगर कुछ ऊंचा शब्द होगा वो हो. और ये लेफ्ट विंगर्स ऐसी हरकतें करते हैं. Left wingers ostracize, left wingers boycott. So when I wrote an article in Op India, when I said the right wing is a mirror image of the left wing, मैंने क्या गलत बोला? Because कुछ इधर ओरिजिनलिटी है ही नहीं. इधर क्या है, उसने मुझे पिन मारा ना, मैं वही दुकान में जाऊंगा, which is probably owned by a left winger too, because left winger का पिन सप्लाई कर रहा था वही होगी दुकान. मैं उसको धंधा दूंगा, मैं उसका पिन खरीदूंगा और फिर जाके उसको पोक करूंगा. ऐसे जाके देखा मैंने तेरे ही तरीके से तुझे पोक किया. अगर यही करना है तो कम से कम एक्सेप्ट तो करो हम वानाबी लेफ्ट विंगर्स हैं. कोई आइडियोलॉजी है नहीं, क्योंकि आइडियोलॉजी के लिए बुक्स पढ़नी पड़ती हैं. बुक्स पढ़ने के बाद सोचना पड़ता है और मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. वो तो हमने करना नहीं है. वो जो कर रहा है हम उसको चेपे जा रहे हैं. बॉस, इफ just think about it. Elections are not won because of core vote banks. BJP has a 18% core vote, जो कभी हिलने नहीं वाला है. वो मतलब मेरे हिसाब से बीजेपी के 400 अगर मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट और लेजिस्लेचर अगर रोज एक मर्डर भी कर देंगे, वो हिलने नहीं वाले. वो लोग जाके बीजेपी का ही बटन दबाएंगे. देयर आर कोर रिपब्लिकन्स, देयर आर कोर डेमोक्रेट्स. जैसे कांग्रेस के भी गांधी परिवार कितने भी बड़े झोल कर लें, कुछ लोग हैं जो कांग्रेस को ही वोट करेंगे. मगर जो फेंस सिटर है, और पहली बात, द फेंस सिटर्स आर नॉट जस्ट अर्बन, देयर आर रूरल फेंस सिटर्स टू. बिलीव मी, आई एम अ पॉलिटिकल एनिमल. I campaign in different areas. I can tell you there are fence sitters in all classes and all areas in India. The fence sitter always sways election to election. If your idea of convincing the fence sitter, which is basically the vote that makes you win or lose an election, is behaving like the one thing you hate the most, is you're the biggest moron on planet Earth. And this is what, by and large, I mean, has Narendra Modi, and believe me, I'm a fan of Narendra Modi. But is defending Narendra Modi, defending BJP, and sometimes defending the RSS larger than Hinduism and ideas? Then I'm not with that group. I stand for ideas. I will disagree with RSS on something. Like I'll give you an example. Tomorrow, let's say Dawood Ibrahim says gravity is true. What are you going to oppose gravity? You have to be a moron. I don't care what Dawood Ibrahim does in his personal life. I don't like him. But if he says gravity is there, yeah, it's there. I'm not going to oppose it. It's ridiculous tribalism. What you have is a bunch of tribal morons on both sides. It's just that the one side thinks the other side is tribal, and we are, pure and pious like Radhema.
Yeah, and I don't think I agree with some of what you said. Definitely, I don't think if the right is all those people, because I think the left is just so good at creating that ostracization, and left is so good at creating that demonization, that I don't think the right has reached. And I don't want to use the left and right analogy too much, but still, I don't think the Hindu movement has reached that finesse in ostracization and that finesse in demonization yet. So I still do think that there is an opportunity for the broader Hindu movement, let's say, to kind of move away from that. If there is dissent within your ranks, nurture it, talk to it. That is the great way to not become the left. Because if you push these people out, where are they going to go? कहाँ जाएंगे? अगर इनको धकेल के गरिया के गालियां दे के तुम अपने मूवमेंट से निकाल दोगे, ये लोग कहाँ जाएंगे? और हमारे पास ऐसे ही numbers कम हैं, और you are now hell bent on pushing more and more people out. So I think that's really something that we need to watch against. I think you do make a very good point there, and I kind of want to talk about this as well, because that's one of the things that you were talking about on Rubin Report, and I want to just touch on that really quick. Is you were talking about free speech. You were talking about free speech, and I think this episode that you did with him was like a couple of years ago. So I want to get your thoughts on this matter, because if you believe a lot of the mainstream newspaper, if you believe a lot of the big YouTube newspapers, The Wire and all that stuff, you'll get an idea that free speech has become considerably worse in India, or the state of free speech has become considerably worse in India. Do you see it like that? Do you think it's more black and there are more gray areas in it? What is your opinion on it?
Okay, this is my take.
Mm-hmm.
India never had free speech.
Right.
When did we have free speech? I mean, free speech was murdered when कौन थे वो, स्वामी श्रद्धानंद जी, आर्य समाज वाले, 1920 में जब वो रंगीला रसूल आई थी. फ्री स्पीच तो थी नहीं हमारे समाज में कभी. I mean, अगर मुझे कोई पूछे इस दुनिया में सिर्फ एक देश है जहां फ्री स्पीच है, जहां आप रहते हैं. सिर्फ वो देश है जहां फ्री स्पीच है. मेरे ससुराल में भी नहीं है, कनाडा. मैं कनाडा में रहा हूं. I can tell you Canada has no free speech. I mean, I think people need to understand the concept of free speech. Free speech is that state where no matter how much you dislike the point of view, you support the person's right to host that point of view until and unless there is no direct call to violence. Yes, hate speech is also free speech. You can say the most casteist remarks, and still that is part of free speech. I know people in India will not agree to that. Like in India, you can't say a few words, right? You go to jail. I'm not going to use those words because I know I'll go to jail. Any society like that will not, like Europe does not have free speech.
Yeah.
You can't deny the Holocaust in Europe.
I was
You
just
go
going
to
to say
jail.
that.
By the way, you can't deny the Holocaust in Canada too.
Hmm.
You go to
Wow.
jail in Canada too. I
didn't
just
know.
found out about that like a year ago. I did not know that. So I was talking
Yeah,
to a friend
wow.
in Canada, and he told me that no, you can't deny the Holocaust in Canada too. I mean, people can check me up and correct me if my friend was wrong, but that's what I know as of now. So conceptually, we don't have free speech in India. But if I was on Ruben's show, right, I did not want to beat India down. I did not want to be that Indian who goes on Ruben's show and beats India down.
You should have
It's
done
not.
that. Otherwise, you should have done that, because if you did that, you would have had a huge social media following and probably a book contract by now, man. What did you
Nah,
do?
man, I don't want to do that. See, मैं मेरे देश को गाली देके रोटियां नहीं सेकना चाहता. मैं जो भी मेरा देश कितना भी गंदा होगा, मैं ऑफ द एयर उसको 100 बार गालियां दूंगा. मगर एटलीस्ट अगर मैं किसी और के देश में गया, जब मैं रूबन रिपोर्ट पे गया था, आई वाज रिप्रेजेंटिंग माय कंट्री, सो आई डिड नॉट प्रेज इंडियाज फ्री स्पीच कंडीशन. इफ एनीबडी हर्ड मी, they knew I was criticizing the free speech. But yeah, I mean, and there is a hypocrisy in India. Like, I'll tell you, if right now for the next 15 minutes I go on criticizing Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism, nothing will happen to me. If I criticize Christianity, the church will thoko cases on me. But if I criticize Islam in India, the probabilities of me being murdered are higher.
Yes.
I say this as a person who has Muslims in his own family, who are married into my family. And believe me, I hate Hindus who generalize all Muslims. They are a bunch of idiots. But that does not mean that we cannot draw inferences based on experiences of the past in India.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fact that your probabilities of getting your head chopped off or being, beaten up by a mob increase considerably if you criticize Islam in India, and probably if you criticize Islam anywhere in the world. But having said that, the solution to that is not that the Hindus, which I see off late, and I feel so bad because I was the first one who started the trend of filing. I was the one who went after Vishal Dadlani, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, मैं उसके पीछे पड़ा था. And the funniest scenario was that, when these guys from Times Now and all these news channels, they would call me. They're like, so why did you go after Vishal Dadlani? So I was like, I will only talk to you if you listen to me for 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah. So my first line is, I'm an atheist. They got confused. They're like, if you're an atheist, why did you file a case in 295A that your religious sentiments are hurt? And then I would put my case to them. I was like, now you are where I want you to be. So I tell them, look, person criticizes Hinduism, nothing happens. You cut meat outside a Jain temple, nothing happens to you. But the moment you do something to Islam, this happens. There's a asymmetry when it comes to outrage in India. And the solution to that is not shutting up every criticism of Hinduism. The solution to that is making sure we criticize Islam in India. And making sure that people like us get legal protection in the form of laws and police protection in the form of police reforms. इंडिया की प्रॉब्लम यह है कि आपको मालूम है, अगर आपने इस्लाम को क्रिटिसाइज किया, आपको कोई टपका देगा. यही अगर पुलिस होती थी और लॉ एंड ऑर्डर होता था और प्रोटेक्शन होती थी, आप हिम्मत करते थे ना. आप हिम्मत करते ही नहीं हो. वो बेचारी तस्लीमा नसरीन की हालत क्या है, इंडिया में रह रही है. वो दिल्ली के बाहर तो जाती नहीं है, छुप छुप के रहती है. आज आपको कड़वी सच्चाई बताता हूं, तारिक फतेह बॉम्बे क्यों नहीं आते? आप पूछो उनको. क्योंकि उनको बोला गया है कि उनको उड़ा देंगे और बॉम्बे में आपको गारंटी नहीं देते प्रोटेक्शन की. वो दिल्ली जाते हैं और दिल्ली से वापस आ जाते हैं. तो ये रियलिटी है इंडिया की. कौन बात करेगा इसके बारे में? अब मैं हिंदुइज्म को भी क्रिटिसाइज करता हूं. और मेरा फंडा सिंपल है. आप इंडिया में फ्री स्पीच नहीं है. लोगों को फ्री स्पीच क्या होती है ये भी नहीं मालूम है. लोगों का इंडिया में डेफिनेशन ऑफ फ्री स्पीच इज, I agree with your right to say anything until and unless you don't deviate from my point of view. This is not free speech. This is basically, I don't know what it is. This is Latmaro free speech.
Yeah.
And this is my view.
And I think it's interesting as well because, It's true, because I don't think, like, you're right about that, and that's kind of what I wanted you to bring up, and you did as well. That it's Indian free speech is not absolute. Like, for example, like the way it is in the U.S., it is absolute, most definitely. There's also a case of, like you said, there is a significantly higher chance that you are going to face adverse consequences when you criticize one ideology as opposed to other sets of ideologies. That is also, uh, unfortunately, in today's day and age, an irrefutable fact. And thirdly, as well, like, with the police situation that you said, I kind of wanted to just follow up on that as well. Like, do you, because you can see that even in the US and even in, like, Europe, you see these people, they can't be that open about criticizing Islam, and even if they are, they still have to be like, they still have to live the way Taslima Nasreen is kind of living as well. So, do you really think that it's the police situation in India that is lacking, or because you kind of see those things in the US and in the West, in Europe in general as well, like these people kind of just living, just surrounded by protection, and they can't even go grocery shopping?
I'll disagree here. I'll give you an example, tangible, provable example. I don't know how many people have heard of the name Steven Crowder.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Steven Crowder is on the ISIS hit list. Yeah, Steven Crowder is in touch with FBI. But I urge everyone, I'll share the link with you, put it in the description of the podcast. See what he does with the peace be upon him prophet
Mm.
in a video. Go. I'm not going to talk about it because, again, I'm in India. I can't do that. But see what he does. You'll get the answer.
Mm.
There are people who are willing to take that risk, and they are doing it. And they don't care. Yeah, the retort will be, oh, South Park had to, go back on some criticism of Islam. Hey, at least they did something. You can't even do that much in India. So, it's such a bullshit argument. The argument itself has no standing. चलो ठीक है ना, अमेरिका में भी नहीं है, तुम उतना तो कर लो. I always tell people, ठीक है ना, भारत माता की जय, मगर कम से कम अमेरिका जितनी सड़कें तो बना लो. पहले उस लेवल पे पहुंचो, बाद में उसके आगे चले जाएंगे हम. पहले इतना तो एक्सेप्ट करो कि वो हमसे तो बेटर है. हमारे यहाँ डिनायलिज्म में हम एक्सपर्टीज कर चुके हैं. वी हैव अ पीएचडी इन डिनायलिज्म. इट्स एज इफ वी से, it's like, I was fat all my life. I really tried looking at the mirror and saying I'm 50 kilos when I was 96, but it didn't change the fact that I was 96 kilos. It's only when I got my ass down out of my house into the fucking gym, that's when I lost my weight. The same thing is, we want India to be better, to be safe. Another tangible case, for hardcore Modi bhakts, and I'm using this word purposely to irritate them. Every time there is a law and order problem in India, there is a bullshit answer. Hey, don't you know police is a state subject? Oh, really? I did not know that. Okay. Let's say there are X number of states in India. 29, 30, 31, union territory, सब पकड़ लो. कम से कम 20 या 21 में तो बीजेपी या बीजेपी एंड एलाइज हैं? उनकी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है, उनकी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट है. सबको पता है बीजेपी टॉप डाउन रन पार्टी है आज की डेट में. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज कंट्रोलिंग अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. अभी मैं ओपनली बोलता हूं, लोग डीएम में ये बात करते हैं एक दूसरे से. ओनली डिफरेंस ये है, आप अपने प्रधानमंत्री के पीछे पड़ो कि आपके जो चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं उनको बोलो कि पुलिस रिक्रूटमेंट बढ़ाएं और अपनी स्टेट्स में सिटीजन टू कॉप रेशियो सुधारें. किसने रोका भैया आपको? आप छोड़ दो ना. कांग्रेस तो रद्दी पार्टी है. कांग्रेस किसके लिए? तो हमने कांग्रेस को वोट नहीं किया ना, हमने बीजेपी को क्यों वोट किया? बेसिक आप अपनी स्टेट में, दिस इज माय मैसेज टू एवरी व्यूअर ऑन योर चैनल. आप जा रहे हो ना, आप अपने एरिया के कॉर्पोरेटर, एमएलए, एमपी को लेटर लिखो. आप उनको बोलो, भैया मेरे यहाँ पे इतनी जनसंख्या है और इतनी पुलिस है, मुझे ज्यादा पुलिस चाहिए, मुझे सेफ्टी चाहिए मेरी बच्चियों के लिए, मेरे बच्चों के लिए, मुझे यहाँ पे सिविलाइज बिहेवियर चाहिए. हर उठाई गिरा आके रॉन्ग लेन से चले जाता है और बाद में बोलता है मेरे बाप का देश है. क्या है ये? आप एक्सक्यूज क्या है? और बिलीव मी, अगेन, एज समवन हु कैंपेन्स ऑन द ब्लडी ग्राउंड, law and order is actually a vote grabber. If BJP wants to, I mean, आप बिहार से हो, आपको याद होगा मायावती के राज में एक चीज लोग हमेशा बोलते थे, मायावती आती है लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सुधर जाता है, दंगाई कम हो जाती है. आपको याद होगा, ये हमेशा बोला जाता था. अगर ये इलेक्शन इशू नहीं होगा तो लोग बोलते क्यों है?
That's true.
So why can't we pressurize the BJP for something as basic as this? I'm going to vote for BJP in 2019, but the point is that for the fence sitter, law and order matters. I am not just for the fence sitter, for you, me, everybody, law and order matters. Why can't we? And law and order will fix free speech in India. Believe me, they are parallel issues. It's not like I remove 295A, I remove 153A, I fix the First Amendment, and then I have no police to protect me, and I have no judicial reforms. It's not going to change anything then. It's just going to be, I will criticize Islam, and the next day my parents will be crying, hi, mera bachcha mar gaya.
Yeah.
So we need to fix both. And I don't know why. I mean, this is the peak of BJP's prowess. If we can't fix it now, I'm sorry. And if the BJP is not doing by itself, that means they don't want to fix it. That means whether it's the BJP or Congress, they want us to be in a state of flux.
That's true, and it's. I think that there are legitimate, criticisms of the BJP as well. And again, I can't believe that we have to always make that disclaimer that criticizing the BJP does not mean that you hate the greater Hindu movement, that you don't want it to flourish and succeed, because the BJP is a tool for that. Somebody mentioned that in the chat today, right now as well. The BJP is a tool for achieving that. But BJP is not the only tool for, well, at the moment it is unfortunately the only tool for achieving that, but hopefully it isn't the only tool for achieving that. And, for example, we talk about, every now and then we express dismay over the situation of the Kashmiri Hindus, and the BJP is right now part of the government in Kashmir. And how much tangible change have we actually received for the Kashmiri Hindus in Kashmir? And now, since that Kathua incident, we're finding out more stuff that, all these Rohingyas are coming and settling in near that Jammu area, and some Hindus are starting to get pushed out of where they are. So, I mean, arguably, and I'm not trying to be a BJP basher, but arguably things are getting worse for some of the Kashmiri Hindus, So these are legitimate concerns that we need to pull the party up for that. We can't just be like, अच्छा 2019 में जुतवा उसके बाद देखते हैं. अभी भी देखना जरूरी है क्योंकि इन कश्मीरी हिंदुओं के पास ज्यादा टाइम नहीं रह गया है. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. See, I have ये जो पता नहीं क्या बोलते हैं इसको, ये लोग ट्वीट अप बोलते हैं, मतलब मैं इनको ट्विटर किट्टी पार्टी बोलता हूँ बेसिकली. तो जब भी हम मिलते हैं, एक बात है मैं तारीफ करूंगा, जो बीजेपी सपोर्टर्स हैं बहुत वाइड रेंज ऑफ होते हैं. मतलब मेरे जैसे आदमी को भी एक्सेप्ट किया हुआ है बीजेपी में, जो बोलता है मैं मंदिर नहीं जाऊंगा, मैं ये नहीं करूंगा, मैं वो नहीं करूंगा. तो उस मामले में मैं एक्सेप्ट करता हूं. दे आर फार मोर एक्सेप्टिंग देन लेफ्ट विंगर्स. वो तो पागल होते हैं. मगर पॉइंट ये है कि मैं पता नहीं कब से ये रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं. मैं वो आइडिया इंडियाज कॉन्क्लेव में गया था, वहां पे भी मैं कुछ सीनियर लोगों को बोला था उधर. मैंने बोला था देयर माइट बी स्पेसिफिक इश्यूज जिसपे डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ राइट विंगर्स विल एग्री. Let's say Hindu temples should be out of government control. Let's say right to education either gets abolished or it gets applied on minority schools. मतलब या तो तुम डंडा पूरा डालो सबके पिछवाड़े में, या तो मेरे पिछवाड़े में से निकालो. दोनों में से एक करो. Asymmetry in front of the law change करो. Like that, I requested them, let us create an agenda of 10 to 15 points where everybody in this vast pantheon, like जैसे रियलिटी चेक इंडिया है, उसका फोकस आरटीई है. एंड कुडोस टू हिम, ग्रेट मैन डूइंग रियली गुड वर्क. उसका फोकस वो है. एवरीबॉडी काइंड ऑफ एग्रीज विथ हिम, राइट? तो उसको एक मेन मोटो ले लिया आपने. और ऐसे अगर हमने 10-15 इश्यूज बना लिए, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर, फ्री स्पीच, बिलीव मी, अगर फ्री स्पीच नहीं लाई, हिंदू वैसे ही खत्म हो जाने वाले हैं. आज नहीं, 500 साल बाद हो जाएंगे. और आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट 500 साल की सोच के करनी चाहिए, 5 साल की नहीं करनी चाहिए. अगर हमने ये मूवमेंट क्रिएट की विच इज बेस्ड ऑन आइडियाज एंड आइडियोलॉजीज, आई थिंक दैट विल हेल्प इंडिया. ये नफरतें पालने से कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. आप रोज जाओ, चिल्ला लो. अभी कम से कम ये तो बोलना बंद कर देना चाहिए कि मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया हमारे खिलाफ है. भाई, रिपब्लिक कौन सा तुम्हारे खिलाफ है? जी न्यूज कौन सा तुम्हारे खिलाफ है? टाइम्स नाउ कौन सा तुम्हारे खिलाफ है? अभी तुम्हारे पास मेन स्ट्रीम चिल्लम चिल्ली मीडिया पे लाउड स्पीकर्स हैं, और मुझे कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ता कि दे आर प्रो बीजेपी. भाई, एनडीटीवी प्रो कांग्रेस है, किसी ने आज तक रोया क्या? तो भाई ठीक है, there are some channels that are pro BJP, there are some channels that are pro Congress. सच क्या है किसी को नहीं पता, तेल लेने गया, वो अलग बात हो गई. I mean, बेस्ट तो टाइम्स नाउ है, मिरर नाउ एक चीज बोलता है, टाइम्स नाउ एक चीज बोलता है, भाई डिसाइड कर ले, मालिक तो एक ही है. मतलब वो हाल है हमारे देश में. मगर why can't we, and maybe this is my question to all the listeners who are watching this right now, why can't you at least come up with a 10 to 15 point agenda where whether it's someone like Rupa, Abhijit, myself, Aarti Tikku Singh, they might disagree with the larger Hindu movement on a lot of things, but do you think they disagree on right to education? Do you think they disagree on temples? They don't. So why can't we all lobby for these issues? I just don't get it. आप उनको सुबह से लेकर शाम तक गाली देते रहते हो. अरे पॉइंट क्या है मेरे भाई? गाली देते हो मतलब या तो आपको सिर्फ गाली देना पसंद है और वो आपका स्वभाव है, या तो एक्सेप्ट करो मैं हूं ही लीचड़ और मैं उसके बियॉन्ड जा नहीं सकता हूं. मेरा पॉइंट है, that's why I started the podcast. Like, why can't we talk of, let's say, foreign policy? I mean, we have amazing people, not just Abhijit. Let me tell you, Jaideep Prabhu, he's just joined the Indic collective too. Jaideep is a brilliant guy. Brilliant. I mean, मैं उसकी जितनी तारीफ करूं उतनी कम है. इतना अच्छा है वो. मगर क्या है भैया, आप उसके दिमाग को यूज ही नहीं करते हो. जैसा ही दीपक, he's running that, he's fighting cases. उसको सपोर्ट क्यों नहीं करते हो तुम लोग? बोल दोगे मैंने रीट्वीट कर दिया, वो क्या उखाड़ा तुमने रीट्वीट कर दिया, उसके बियॉन्ड भी तो जाओ ना तुम. That's what I'm trying to say. If we are able to do that, that's when you get an alternative. See, every time saying it's, let us assume yes, BJP should be in power, that's a given, but now what? We accept status quo? That's my question. I don't know. I mean, what's your view on this?
No, I agree. And, it kind of bring me to the next point that I wanted to talk about as well. It's about a kind of a grand narrative. And like you said, set an agenda, create an agenda. Our agenda, at least for the first, 4 years of the BJP government, the greater kind of Hindu agenda has been very hodgepodge. It's just like a collection of a bunch of different things, but it's not very clear. For the left, unfortunately, is a lot more clear about what it wants than us. It's way more clear. And for that, they have to be given credit. They're very clear about what they want to achieve. We are not. So that's a very good point. I think we need to have those few points we need to have those 10, 12 point agenda like you talked about. Okay, this is what we need to achieve in our movement. And this is what we want to make sure that if we vote for the BJP, then we need to make sure that we keep asking the BJP, what are you doing about point number 5? What are you doing about point number 6? And so on and so forth. It kind of fits into that argument that kind of Rajiv Malhotra also makes, about creating a grand narrative. And yeah, you do need a grand narrative. And then within that grand narrative, you do need that, I think, set of agendas. And again, like you mentioned about those people, like Aarti Tikku Singh is a good example. She recently posted something about the Kathua incident that I completely disagreed with. And I think it was, I also thought that it was a little too harsh and it was just a little too judgmental. At the same time, she has often spoken for a lot of things that the greater Hindu movement wants and agrees with. So when she makes those statements, she's great. But when she makes statements that are not in agreement with what you want exactly, she's just the worst kind of person. It can't work that way. It's impossible for it to work that way. I said, chalega hi nahi kaam. I completely hated what she said. I really did hate what she said because I thought it was extremely reactionary. But I'm not going to say that Aarti Tikku Singh is a horrible person who just wants all the Hindus to die. There needs to be, we have to learn to make those distinctions. You know what I mean?
Believe me, she's not a horrible person. She's a very nice person. I've interacted with her. She's a very kind-hearted person. I don't know what's wrong with people. Believe me, every time, okay, another test. If you think somebody on Twitter is XYZ, sit across the table with them. You'll realize they're not that bad. And this applies to Congress supporters, Aam Aadmi. I mean, come on, one of my very good friends in politics is Ruben Mascarenhas. Ruben is in the Aam Aadmi party. We were together in the India Against Corruption movement. I'm not going to stop talking to Ruben. I like him. He's a good guy. What, just because he likes certain principles and he thinks Arvind Kejriwal is the best way to achieve those results, I should hate Ruben? I refuse to hate Ruben. I will not hate Ruben. And anybody who wants to do that, well, do it. That's your character. It's not my character. I'll sit down. I'll talk to anyone and everyone. As long as they're not rapists and murderers and real sleazebags, I don't care which political party you support. I'm very clear about what my political preferences are. I have never hidden them. I will vote for the BJP in 2019, and I will go door to door from January 2019 telling everyone in my political surrounding, vote for the BJP. But if I come across someone who votes for the Congress, I will not think they are bad people. I'll disagree with them respectfully.
Right.
All I say.
So let me take a couple of questions from the audience. One of the questions from the audience is, when it comes to like the grand narrative, so to say, it sometimes it tends to be a very obscure term. But do you have any pointers or points as to what should be part of that narrative for sort of the greater Hindu movement?
Yeah, actually, I have been working. I mean, I've been writing about this for a while. I write about it on and off. Like I wrote a few pieces in Op India. I've not written, at least for now, the last 8 months. Like, let's say, what should be, this is my view. Now we can discuss what should be India's immigration policy. So, like Rajiv ji mentioned the concept of mutual respect and being different, which is taken from Swami Vivekananda's concept of equal respect. Even I think Sitaram Goel also spoke about the concept of equal respect.
Yes.
Now, in my view, India's immigration policy should be based on the concept of mutual respect. Now, what do I mean by that? When I say, who do we let into India? We should let people and ideas and groups into India that believe in mutual respect. That is the core dharmic philosophy of this country, right? I think all paths are equally valid while I disagree with the other path. Right? Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. Right? Now, if a person who belongs to an ideology that says, no, only my way is the only way, everybody else goes to hell, you're not welcome in India. Screw you. If that means Rohingyas don't come into India, too bad. I don't care. Screw you. They don't come to India. That's my view. Does that make me a bigot? No. I'm not a bigot. I'm as liberal as it gets. So that's what I'm saying. Now, second point, I think we should have free speech in India. Why should we have free speech in India? Because if you want Hinduism to spread as an idea, now let us assume we stop criticism of Hinduism successfully. We use 295A, 153A to restrict criticism of Hinduism. I give it to the so-called shouting matches on social media, right? But has anybody read the Quran? Has anybody read the Bible? The Bible, I mean, the Old Testament is full of hate speech. I say it very comfortably. The Quran clearly says the infidel should be killed. You have any doubts? I have summarized 4 versions of the Quran so that nobody accuses me. Go to my blog, read it. God is saying XYZ should be killed. ABC should be killed. Whatever conditions apply, mental gymnastics. The point is, even if you achieve that state, you cannot ban those books because they come under the rubric of religious protection. So तुम एंड में करोगे क्या? क्योंकि तुम्हारा रिलीजन स्ट्रक्चरली अजीब है, उनका रिलीजन एक भगवान एक बुक बस उस पे चिटके रहो है, वो अपनी बुक प्रोटेक्ट कर लेंगे, तुम्हारी सारी किताबें बंद हो जाएगी. तुम्हारे से बड़ा बेवकूफ कोई नहीं है अगर तुम फ्री स्पीच नहीं चाहते हो. The only way to counter Abrahamism and homogenizing religions is more speech. Let Hinduism be criticized, but make sure that you get the opportunity to question every single tenet of Islam and Christianity. In that process, the evils of Hinduism are going to be exposed. So what? Don't we want them to be exposed as good human beings?
Yep.
Or are you trying to say Hinduism has no problem? मतलब क्या है भाई? तुम्हारे समाज में अरे तो इस्लाम और क्रिश्चियनिटी तो 2000 साल हो गए ना आके. उसके पहले तुम्हारे समाज में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी. तुम क्या बड़े फने खाते कि तुम्हारे यहाँ कुछ हो नहीं रहा था?
Utopia, just people walking around all happy.
मतलब वो सब ऐसे वो तो सागरिका वाला ट्वीट हो गया ना, वो जैसे उसने आम आदमी पार्टी की इलेक्शन के बाद जीतने का. मेरे हिसाब से हर आदमी वो बिफोर कॉमन एरा वही मोड में था. मुझे लगता है एवरीबॉडी वाज हैप्पी, इट वाज सच अ नाइस टाइम. ऐसा नहीं था. वी हैड प्रॉब्लम्स एज अ सोसाइटी. सो Shutting down critique is not the solution. The basic idea is a grand narrative has to have free speech. A grand narrative has to have, let's say, market economics. We need that. This bullshit of nahi, capitalism has failed, socialism has failed, we need to find a third way. Oh, ghanta third way. Third way is basically pseudo socialism.
Yep.
कुछ नहीं है. क्यों? सी बेसिक प्रॉब्लम ये है कि कैपिटलिज्म आया किसी गोरे से. अभी हम ये थोड़ी ना मान लेंगे भैया गोरे ने अच्छा आइडिया दे दिया. हम तो सोने की चिड़िया थे. दुनिया को हमने ही सब कुछ सिखाया, हगना भी हमने सिखाया, सब कुछ हमने ही सिखाया दुनिया को, लगता है मुझे. तो अगर किसी गोरे का आइडिया ले लिया तो हमको तो कुत्ता काट जाएगा. प्रॉब्लम क्या है भाई? अगेन लेट अस अज्यूम कैपिटलिज्म हैज फ्लॉज. चलो, ग्रांटेड. मगर इट इज बेटर देन सोशलिज्म एज ऑफ नाउ इफ वी लुक एट द स्टैट्स एंड द रियलिटी. सो लेट अस रीच दैट लेवल फर्स्ट. And while we are going through, we can correct the ills of capitalism. And I'm willing to concede capitalism has flaws. I'm willing to concede that. But let us at least get that clarity. Now, similarly, why should the government in a 80%, I consider, when I use the word Hindu, I mean Jain, Sikh, Buddhist, everybody in that, other than Islam and Christianity, and Mormons if there are any. Now the non-dharmic religions को छोड़ दो आप. India is 84% dharmic approximately. Correct me if I'm wrong. None of these faiths have a problem with homosexuality.
Yep.
Why are we behaving like Abrahamic people? We should accept it. I mean, there is a good libertarian argument that the government should not be telling you what you should do in your bedroom anyways. But again, लिबर्टेरियनिज्म इज अ वेस्टर्न कॉन्स्ट्रक्ट. सो चलो हमने वेस्ट को उठा के गटर में फेंक दिया. धार्मिक कॉन्स्ट्रक्ट ले लो. सेक्सुअलिटी में हमको तो कभी प्रॉब्लम थी नहीं. देयर आर मेनी सच इश्यूज व्हिच these are literally, I don't know why these are problems in our country. We can steal liberalism from the liberals so easily. There is an inherent structure in Hindu society. I mean, imagine, look at me. मैं ओपनली बोलता हूं, मैं चार्वक हूं, मैं नहीं मानता हूं जो चीजें लोग मानते हैं. इतना अच्छा समाज है हमारा. उसने मेरे जैसे को भी एक्सेप्ट करके रखा हुआ है. नॉट ओनली एक्सेप्ट करके रखा हुआ है, इक्वल बोलते हैं मुझे. इससे अच्छा समाज क्या होगा हमारा? और इतनी अच्छी स्ट्रक्चर है हिंदुइज्म की, इतना ओपन है हिंदुइज्म, उसके बाद भी पता नहीं कैसे झक्की है हिंदू.
प्रॉब्लम तो है. आई थिंक दैट डेफिनेटली इज द प्रॉब्लम. एक ये एब्राहमिक माइंडसेट सीप कर गया है हमारे सर में, एंड फॉर सम रीजन वी आर नॉट विलिंग टू शेक इट ऑफ. वी वर टेकिंग प्राइड इन दैट कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सिन, इन दैट जो उनके कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं उसमें हम लोग धीरे धीरे प्राइड लेने लग गए हैं. And so just to kind of encapsulate as well, when we're talking about the grand narrative, the first thing you're talking about is free speech needs to start being absolute in India. Second thing you were talking about is I think a not compromising on like a more capitalist system, right? And what would you say would be point number 3? Let's say 3 points.
Police reforms.
Okay.
I mean, look at the citizen to cop ratio in this country. It's abysmal. Mumbai has the best citizen to cop ratio in India, right? Mumbai sucks. Imagine right. The condition in other places in India. I mean, the citizenry does not feel safe because there are not enough cops. Not that there are too many cops. There are no cops. I mean, I always tell people, I work in 2 villages. They are hardly 200 kilometers away from Mumbai. There's hardly any cop there. It's just that because the societies have learned to work around that, they are actually doing it. But I'm sorry, in large urban conglomerates, and that's where people are coming, you're going to need police. So I think a robust law and order and judiciary has to be part of your grand narrative. Let us use dharmic terms. For a good dharmic society, you need a good danda niti and you need a good nyaya niti. India में दोनों ही नहीं है. तो कहाँ से लाएंगे?
Okay, so these 3 things, let's say, should be part of the grand narrative. Another question that people are asking, I think Krishna Rao asked and Player One asked, and for some reason people are really interested. What do you think of Rajiv Malhotra?
Oh, I think you should ask Rajiv Malhotra what he thinks about me. I was one of the first people who started working with Rajiv ji. When was it? 2010 फर्स्ट इवेंट किया था हमने फ्रेंड्स ऑफ बीजेपी का
अच्छा,
वेलिंगकर कॉलेज में. तो
अरे वाह.
राजीव जी की तो मैंने कम से कम 2500 बुक्स बेची होंगी, और इसका प्रूफ राजीव मल्होत्रा है. कभी पूछ लेना उनको, कुशल मेहरा ने आपकी कितनी बुक्स बेची हैं. ऐसे बॉक्स उठा उठा के मैं जाता था उनके इवेंट्स के बाहर बॉम्बे में, और उनकी किताबें बेचता था. मगर ऑफ लेट मैंने वो काम छोड़ दिया है. और मेरी डिसएग्रीमेंट राजीव जी के साथ अभी इंटेलेक्चुअल है, क्योंकि जब उन्होंने बैटल फॉर संस्कृत लिखी, उन्होंने टर्मिनोलॉजी जो यूज की थी शेल्डन पॉलक के लिए, उन्होंने कहा था कि वो शेल्डन पॉलक चार्वाका 2.0 है.
अच्छा.
और जब आप शेल्डन पॉलक को चार्वाका 2.0 बोल देते हो, तो आप मेरे जैसे लोगों को एलियनेट कर देते हो. क्योंकि this is my view. I believe the largest increasing population in India, you may not like it, but it is of skeptics. There's an underlying current in India of youngsters who are not only non-ritualistic, but maybe are skeptical about a creator.
Do you also think, though, so I have to ask at this point, do you also think that the people that are skeptics maybe might not be as well read as you in Hindu philosophy and Hindu texts? And because of that, they kind of have a very Abrahamic sort of understanding of Hinduism, which is what most people who go to schools and who kind of watch TV and in pop culture, it's Hinduism isn't really explained or even portrayed properly in any of these media. So a lot of these kids that are growing up that may be skeptics, and that's completely cool, but they might not be as well read or not be willing to just read as well. And I think you talked about this as well. You talked about the dharmic skeptics, the Marxist atheists, and the wannabe atheists. So do you think that there's more of the Marxist atheists and the wannabe atheists rather than somebody like you who's maybe who are not as well read on this issue as you are?
Yeah, I think the maximum number are wannabe atheists, and Marxist atheists are actually in small numbers. They're in the academics. Academia में है और किधर नहीं है. And मेरे जैसे, I don't know, I've not come across actually many. So I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but yeah, I've not come across Charvakas. So it's a very rare breed. But like I was saying, so my disagreement with Rajiv ji is only after Battle for Sanskrit, when I realized, मतलब ये तो ऐसा हो गया कि मैं आपकी बुक बेच रहा हूँ और आप मेरी ठोक रहे हो, तो मतलब थोड़ा अजीब लग रहा था मुझे. But again, if he comes up with a new book and that book has ideas that I agree with, I will stand outside his events and I'll sell his books with equal amount of zeal that I would. And believe me, all of you can ask Rajiv Malhotra, कुशल मेहरा ने आपकी कितनी किताबें बेची हैं?
अच्छा.
And he'll be the first one to admit कि मेरी सबसे ज़्यादा किताबें कुशल ने बेची हैं. अच्छा. I think Being Different is one of the best books I've read in my life. It changed me at a fundamental level, and in fact that was my inspiration to start exploring Charvaka and explaining Charvak Darshan in my own point of view, because there's nothing written from a Charvaka point of view. Everything is about what the Charvakas said from the other Darshanas point of view. There is no direct interpretation. So anyway, so yeah, but like I was saying, the amount of skeptics that are there underlying in Indian society who are very comfortable in calling themselves Hindu, yet atheists, are humongous. I don't think so alienating them would be a good idea. They will go to the left then.
No, I think that's a good point. And I also think that that's a good point, but at the same time I also think that there isn't a lot of they don't face, like, I think you made that point ago, so I don't need to beat it too much, but you did make a good point about that atheists and kind of skeptics within the Hindu fold, they're not pushed out, they're not harassed like they are for example in other communities. So I think there's an aspect of that we should be very proud of as well. So I know, and I completely agree with that. I think that's a very good idea. One of the questions that I think somebody also asked was, how would you finally, like, just kind of let's do two more questions. So how would you, in a most succinct way, in a short form, explain what a Charvak is?
Charvak, Well, the classical way was very simple. There were Astika Darshanas and there were Nastika Darshanas. So the Astikas basically believed that the authority or the final word comes from the Vedas, and different darshanas had their interpretation of the Vedas, and the philosophy of the Vedas was in the Upanishad. So it had nothing to do with a creator God, because if you consider Sankhya, right? Sankhya does not generally believe in a creator God, but Sankhya is a Astika Darshana. And a Nastika Darshana was basically darshanas that denied the authority of the Vedas. Now, I am someone who falls into that. I don't dislike the Vedas. So before somebody gets hyper, I like something in the Vedas, I like something in the Upanishads, I might like something in Jain philosophy also. So what I'm trying to do is my fundamentals are very simple. It comes from what darshanas you follow too. So there are 6 darshanas, right? There is Pratyaksha, there is then there is Anuman, etc., etc. So the Charvakas believe that Pratyaksha is the most practical darshana, from which Pratyaksha, aka direct inference, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, kind of a thing. So I'll give you an example, right? आपको दूर पहाड़ में धुआं दिख रहा है. You see smoke in the mountain. Now, can you take an inference and say there is smoke, so there must be fire? Somebody might say yes, but what if it's dry ice? I'm just giving you a very basic example. Now, what would a Charvaka do? A Charvaka would say, either if I was in the Stone Age, I would walk to the mountain, see, and find out. If I'm a Charvaka in the modern age, I'll just send a bloody drone. I'll see and I'll find out. Right. Now, I'm just giving you a very basic example before you get into physics and computation and mathematics, and they are based on axioms and all that stuff. That's a separate issue. But what I'm trying to say is, if you look at it from a very core point of view, Pratyaksh is the most superior form of Praman, and I don't think so. Just for example, now Advaitins believe in Shabda Praman. I think that's a weak thing. Now they say Shabda Praman is valid because anything that has come out of the mouth of Rishi Munis or Acharyas is valid. Now I, as a Charvaka, deny that. I believe they were just mere mortals and they can make mistakes. I think the evidence has to be more foolproof, and it has to be based on Vigyan. And it should be based on a method of formal verification. Now, that's the way I am doing it. And obviously, I'm not an authority on it, but I'm far better than the average atheist. And my ultimate aim is eventually to come up with a very robust, doctrine of what a, modern day Charvaka is. Maybe probably 5-6 years down the line, I would have more answers. But a Charvaka is someone who basically follows the Pratyaksha Pramana. Now, you can Google Pratyaksha Pramana. I mean, I think it's very basic.
Awesome. Okay. And so finally, let's talk about a final question. And I think that's something that I want to hear, and particularly because you are a political animal. What are your predictions? Probably not just yet, but what are your thoughts on 2019?
Okay. Honestly, I have no answer. I have not put my mind to it because I would be lying if I have.
Right.
I will only come up with an answer to this once I start campaigning on the ground.
तो फिर आपको वापस बुलाना पड़ेगा फिर शो पे, मतलब है ना?
वो तो आप बुलाओगे नहीं तो भी मैं आ जाऊंगा।
बुलाना ही पड़ेगा। नहीं अब तो बुलाना ही पड़ेगा तो जरूर। अब तो we should do a thing where we should come up, kind of do a thing every few months where we when you're on the ground, particularly because I'd love to talk to people who are actually working on the ground and talk to them about what the ground is feeling. So right now, no comment.
Yeah, no comment. See, I'll give you a very honest answer. जो भी बोल रहा है ना बीजेपी को ये मिलने वाला है, वो मिलने वाला है 2019 में, वो झूठ बोल रहा है। जो बोल रहा है बीजेपी को 300 मिलने वाले है, वो भी झूठ बोल रहा है। जो बोल रहा है बीजेपी को 137 मिलने वाले है, जैसे अभिजीत है, उसको भी कुछ आइडिया नहीं है। आप कोई आइडिया लगा ही नहीं सकते हो। ये मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है और मैंने 1 नहीं 4 इलेक्शन में कैंपेन किया हुआ है। आपको रियल सेंस इलेक्शन की 1 महीने पहले पता चलती है, आपकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी की और आपके एरिया की और आपकी स्टेट की या आपकी सिटी की। अभी मुझे कोई बोलेगा ना कर्नाटक में क्या होने वाला है, मैं आपको जुगाड़ दे दूंगा, ये दे दूंगा। ऑनेस्टली मुझे क्या पता यार, मैंने 15 लोगों से बात करनी है उधर फोन करके, वो भी ट्विटर में और वो भी मेरे ग्रुप में होंगे, तो मेरा सैंपल इतना बायस्ड है और मैं वो बाकियों के जैसे इमोशन वाले आंसर देता नहीं हूं। अगर मेरे पास आंसर नहीं है, मैं बोल दूंगा भाई मैं नहीं जानता, मैं इतना बुद्धिजीवी नहीं हूं। मैं आपको पक्का आंसर दे पाऊंगा फरवरी में, पक्का आंसर दे पाऊंगा जो मेरा असेसमेंट होगा उसके बाद भी I will be the first person to admit I could be wrong.
Sure. I think it is crazy when people like make those predictions and they say yahi hoga. And I'm glad that I'm glad that you're able to say that this is my prediction, this is what I've seen on the ground, but it's possible that I might be wrong. So I think that that's probably the best way to approach it. And I think that's a great point to kind of wrap this up on as well. I want to thank Kushal again very much for having a conversation with me. I had a really good time. I had a fun conversation, and you're welcome back on the show anytime. So I'd love to do this again sometime. Thanks again, guys, for participating. Thanks again for the good comments. I hope I was able to take some of your questions, if not all of them. Again, any comments if you want to make, again, Kushal, go ahead, and thanks very much.
Oh, it's actually, I have to thank you. I really had a good time because I'm usually on the other side. मैं usually चुप रहता हूँ और मुझे question पूछ के चुप रहना है. इस बार this was a new experience for me where I had to do the talking. I'm not used to that. Although I talk a lot in my personal life, my wife has to shut me up most of the times. But I thank you for giving me this platform and not getting mad for saying some things which might hurt some people's sentiments and to the people. Yeah, oh my god, you're triggered. And to the people who are listening
You're
to
part
this,
of the problem.
and the people who are listening to this, if you disagree with me, it's okay. I still won't judge you.
Absolutely. And fantastic words to end the show with. Thanks again, guys. Thanks again, Kushal. This has been The Sessions. If you like today's episode, please make sure to subscribe to the show's channel. Give this episode a little bit of a thumbs up. Kushal, you can follow on Twitter. The description of that is available in the, obviously, the show description below. Thanks again, guys. We will catch you next time.